Welcome to Dylan Still Hobbies. As of the making of this video, it is indeed 11 months and a few days until Star Wars Episode 9 comes out. Now, we've all heard about Episode 8, and I honestly believe, whether your opinion is positive or negative towards Episode 8, I really think we can all agree that Episode 9 is definitely going to change things. Now, whether it will change things for the good, or whether it will change things for the worse, that is, of course, up to see. Now, my opinion on Episode 8 is irrelevant, but I am legitimately excited for Episode 9. I am legitimately excited to see the outcome of what comes up with Episode 9. I mean, that could really change a lot. For me personally, if Episode 9 is legitimately not a good movie, and I don't mean like legitimately doesn't come with what I want or anything like that. If Episode 9 is legitimately not a good movie, I probably will no longer cover Star Wars on this channel. Because this channel, I only cover what I want to cover, what I love to do. And if Episode 9 legitimately is not a good movie, there's no point for me to talk about Star Wars on this channel anymore. I do believe that Episode 9 does have a chance. It does have a chance to be a legitimately good movie and could change the fandom's mind. I have no idea if this movie could make or break the fandom, but as a personal fan, it could make or break me. The truth. That is 100% the truth. But in honor of Episode 9's being released, I plan to watch every single episode of Star Wars. Well, I should say this. The movie. The big, legitimate movie. I don't have time for all of the comics or TV shows or stuff like that. But as for the big main movies, I'm going to watch them Episode 1 through Episode 8 and see Episode 9. Of course, I am going to include the 2 spin-off movies that they produce, which would be Rogue One, and Han Solo. My feelings towards Han Solo, you'll see that in an upcoming video. So, I have not seen this film since 2014, since the announcement of Episode 7. When Episode 7 was announced, I watched it. I watched all of the films leading up to 2015, where, of course, the big movie came out, which was Episode 7, The Force Awakens. I have not seen this movie since then. It has been 5 years since it is 2019, and I watched it in 2014. It has been 5 years since I watched this movie. Before I did this video, I literally just got done watching that film maybe an hour ago. That's right. I today sat down and watched Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, for the first time in 5 years. And I did it because I honestly wanted to see my thoughts for this film. Has my feelings towards this film changed? In this video, we are going to talk about that. Okay, so has my feelings truly changed about this movie? And the answer is not very much. However, I am surprised at how much I enjoyed viewing this movie. Like, typically, whenever I thought back to this movie, I'm like, oh my god, that movie was so terrible. Well, after this viewing, I can honestly say I enjoyed viewing it. I really did this time around. I haven't seen it in 5 years, and I honestly am glad that I decided to sit down and watch this video. Typically, whenever I do watch the series Star Wars, I skip this movie completely, and the franchise is still perfectly fine. Pretty much a useless movie in terms of the entire Star Wars franchise. With that said, there are some moments I really do like, and this video can pretty much be an entire review, so let's go ahead and start talking about it. And I honestly do enjoy Ewan McGregor's performance as Obi-Wan Kenobi. That is arguably the best part of Episode 1. That's arguably the best part of the prequels, is Ewan McGregor is such an amazing character, is such an amazing actor for Obi-Wan Kenobi. I really do enjoy Obi-Wan Kenobi. For one thing, I really don't like the way this movie starts. That this movie starts between Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon Jinn. They're, of course, at a blockade heading to Naboo, trying to negotiate something, basically get rid of the blockade on Naboo. And negotiations don't go as planned. In fact, they don't even happen. They end up on Naboo, where Qui-Gon Jinn unfortunately saves a life form of the planet, which is, of course, Jar Jar Binks. Jar Jar Binks takes him to his home city. They eventually head to Naboo and save the Queen. I don't like this setup at all. I don't like the fact that we are paying so much attention to Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan, but especially Qui-Gon Jinn. Like, it would be different if it started out, like, as Obi-Wan's story, and then got to the main character, which is, of course, Anakin Skywalker. Anakin Skywalker will always be the main character of Star Wars. But this movie, really, you kind of don't know who the main character is supposed to be. Because you think it's gonna be Obi-Wan, but really it tends to be his master. I don't like that setup, because it just takes it all away from Anakin Skywalker. And Anakin doesn't even show up until midway through the movie. Now, for a lot of people, the biggest problem is Jar Jar Binks. What do I think of him? To be honest with you, I don't find him funny, but I don't find him annoying either. Now, 100% an adult, and I kind of look at his character as nothing more but a childish thing that, I don't know, I honestly don't find him annoying, but I don't find him funny. I honestly view him as nothing more but something for the kids. You know, if I was in a movie theater, I could see a bunch of little kids laughing at him. In fact, when I was little, I used to laugh at him until I kind of learned how pointless of a character he is. He's just a boring character to me. Yeah, and indeed, that's my whole thing. The first third of the movie, of Episode 1, we meet Qui-Gon Jinn, and then we meet Jar Jar Binks, and we don't really pay much attention to Obi-Wan. So who the heck is the main character of this movie? You think it's Qui-Gon Jinn? You think it might even be Jar Jar Binks half the time. But it's not. It's about Anakin. And it's honestly not until we get to Tatooine that my enjoyment really comes from this movie. Now, another thing is Padme. Padme's a queen, and I don't see her as a queen. Like, I don't know what it is. Her age or something. I think it's really weird that she's a queen. And truth be told, I see Padme as a 17-year-old girl. I think that's fine. A 10, 11-year-old boy crushing on a 17-year-old girl who has no interest in him, I think that's fine. I will say this, if she is older than 17 years old, which I believe she is, then it's a really, really creepy that they end up together later on, between Padme and Anakin Skywalker. But without further ado, let's talk about the stuff on Tatooine. So the stuff on Tatooine is where I really start enjoying myself. When we finally do meet Anakin, and look, a lot of people have problem with the boy's acting. I don't. I thought it was just a cute little kid acting. I honestly have no problem with, I believe it's Jake Lloyd playing Anakin Skywalker in that movie. I honestly enjoyed his performance as Anakin Skywalker. And I 100% love Anakin Skywalker throughout this movie. Honestly, I wish we had more of him. We honestly don't pay much attention to him at all. In fact, most of the attention is on Qui-Gon Jinn, making Qui-Gon Jinn the main character of the movie, and that just doesn't make sense to me. Like, if anything, the focus should be on either Obi-Wan or Anakin. Why are we paying so much attention to Qui-Gon Jinn? Is it because he's gonna die at the end of the movie? My favorite part of this movie, though, I got 3 favorite parts. First up, whenever Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ewan McGregor, is on screen, I love it. My second favorite part would be everything that happens on Tatooine with Obi-Wan. Meeting little Anakin, that was pretty cool. With Anakin and his mother, and Anakin building C-3PO and Padme meeting him, and all of that. Plus, their slave owner, Anakin's a little slave, and his boss, the guy with the wings. I never know his name. I don't care what his name is, but I just found all of that just interesting. And my favorite thing would definitely be the pod racing scene. The pod racing scene, oh my god, what an amazing scene. And I can tell you what, I had 3 different video games. I had one video game which was The Phantom Menace, another version of it, and then I actually had the Lego version of Star Wars 1 through 3. And I can tell you what, every time I played it, The Phantom Menace, oh my god, I had so much fun during the pod racing scene. Like, I would just play that for hours on end. I used to love the pod racing scenes. And you know what, I really do. It's a very fast-paced racing show, and to this day, watching this movie, when I watched that scene, I had a grin on my face, and I was actually legitimately worried about Anakin Skywalker winning this race. I wanted him to win so bad, I just let myself get into the movie, and I honestly 100% enjoyed myself. The pod racing scene is definitely my favorite part of Star Wars: A Phantom Menace. After that, it gets boring again. Oh, with the Senate and stuff like that, and I mean the Jedi Council. I mean, I love Yoda and everything, and Yoda being all wise, and that a really cool scene where they're meeting Anakin for the first time. That's all good, but I gotta admit, a lot of this, when my other viewings of it, except maybe my first 2 viewings of the movie, my other 4 viewings of it, I skipped all of this and just went to the big battle at the end, because all of this is just boring to me. It really, really was. I can say a good 70% of the movie is boring to me. Good 65%. Good 65% of this movie is just boring to me. And then we get to, of course, them finally going to Naboo, you know, getting the Gungans' help. That's so cool. And you know what? I haven't said it yet, but the special effects in this movie are amazing. And for the time, they were very groundbreaking. And there were only maybe 2 times where I felt like this was too much like a video game, like it was 2-dimensional and stuff like that. I only felt like that 2 times. And it was during... both of them were actually during the fighting scene between the Gungans and the droids. Only twice did I feel like this looked like a video game. Because honestly, it looked like a video game. Like, a lot of it didn't look real. But those were the only 2 times, and it only happened between the Gungan scene and the droids. Everything else in this movie I felt perfectly fine. Another small nitpick of the movie is, and this is a nitpick, so take it with what you will, but it's not that big of a deal. I honestly do think that the droids could have been a little bit more threatening. I think maybe if somebody got hurt from the droids, then maybe we would honestly fear the droids, but you never end up really fearing any of the droids in this movie. And that's a problem, because these guys are supposed to be the bad guys. You're supposed to fear these droids, and I never felt that in this movie. In this movie, I never felt that. That might change in the other movies. Now, we get to the biggest part of the entire movie, right? We get to Darth Maul versus Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon Jinn. Oh my god. For a fighting scene, the choreograph of that fight, the music, the emotion, the actors, everything in that in that moment. There is a slight problem with it, and that is Darth Maul. That is the biggest pet peeve I have against this entire movie. Is Darth Maul. Darth Maul all over the cover, all over the Phantom Menace art, and guess what? He's not there a lot of the movie. Now, granted, Darth Vader was in the first movie how long? Like 10 minutes? What's the problem with Darth Maul being in the movie for a very short time? The problem is, there is no connection to Darth Maul. You see, when it came to Episode 4, there was a connection between Obi-Wan and Darth Vader. There's no connection, no history, no nothing with Darth Maul. And Darth Vader, the way he held himself, the way he just seemed like this big, menacing creature, was so important. And I just don't feel that with Darth Maul. I feel like Darth Maul is a Darth Vader wannabe in this movie. Now, I love his lightsaber. His lightsaber is awesome. And the fighting scene with him, breathtaking. But, like, I have no connection with Darth Maul, and then he dies at the end. Now, granted, he kills Qui-Gon Jinn, and when that happens, you feel very relieved that Obi-Wan Kenobi did kill Darth Maul, but at the same time, I felt no connection to Darth Maul throughout the entire movie. He's in there only a few minutes. He has only a very few amount of lines. Darth Vader had more lines in Episode 4 than Darth Maul has in this movie, and he just doesn't seem that like a big threat to me. I have no personal connection to Darth Maul. Unlike in Episode 4, where you get that personal connection with Darth Vader, you have no personal connection with Darth Maul. Now, don't get me wrong. When Darth Maul comes back in the Clone Wars, and then I love him in the Rebel stuff, that is all good. The comic books and all that, that is great. It brings character to Darth Maul, but the problem is, you can't do that. You can't tell people to get this connection, read the books or something like that. I shouldn't need to read a comic book to enjoy the movie. I should be able to enjoy the movie, and the comic book be the sweet icing on that sweet cake. You know what I mean? In terms of the rest of the movie, it's not really a needed movie. Like, honestly, you could watch Episode 2 throughout and skip Episode 1, and you would still be fine. Like, there are some cool moments. I really like Obi-Wan meeting Anakin Skywalker for the first time, and I really like the pod racing scene. None of which are necessary. And yeah, you could say the whole thing between him and his mom is important. Well, guess what? the real important stuff happens in episode 2. So you don't need it here. This movie was pretty much, for the most part, a pointless movie. And I will say this, my enjoyment for this movie is there. It is there. A good portion of this movie I was bored, but my enjoyment for this movie is there. I do have parts that I enjoy. For the most part, though, it's a Star Wars movie. It's definitely not one of my favorites. In fact, it's definitely one of my least favorites still. That is my review for episode 1. Let me know what are your thoughts about episode 1 down in the comments down below. So of course we will be talking about episode 2. I forgot to tell you guys this. I can't really do it in this video, but I'll definitely do it in next video. I'm going to be ranking the films. I am here. In the next video, we are going to be talking about episode 2, and we are going to rank it. We are going to see if it's better than episode 1 or below it. You'll see in my next video my thoughts towards episode 2. My next video will be, of course, next month. You see, there are indeed 11 months and a few days till Star Wars episode 9, and I have 10 movies to get through in 11 months. We will be doing this. Thank you guys for watching. I really am surprised how much I enjoyed this movie. I really am surprised how much I don't care about Jar Jar Binks. I thought Jar Jar Binks was going to be this horrible thing through this movie like usual, because that's what I think of him as, and he just wasn't. He was just a pointless character. I'm very surprised by that, but I love Star Wars. I truly do, and I hope you guys do too. Stay tuned. Thank you guys for watching, and let me know your thoughts on episode 1, The Phantom Menace, in the description below. And you guys should probably watch it. Like, honestly, if you haven't seen it in a long time like I have, go and watch it, just to see if your thoughts change on the movie. Without further ado, that's it. Thank you guys for watching. I'm out. Bye.